Hey everyone, this is Dink or Swim. My name is Huey,
My name is Cesar.
and we are here with mother and daughter, pickleball coach, pickleball pro, former police officer, and what was the last one?
There's so many here.
There's so many.
A woman of many features
Yep.
and aspects
Yeah,
of her life.
Trish O'Neil.
Yay, Trish.
Let's go.
Thank you for having
Let's
me.
go.
And then, do you want to give like a brief background of yourself?
A brief background. Let's see. I'm a mother of 2 boys, baby of 5 children growing up.
5 kids.
5 kids. I was born.
Wow.
Born here. Went to school locally, born and raised here. Got into law enforcement in 1995.
Wow.
Found out I was retired in 2015, unknown to me. And we'll lead into that.
Yeah. How long have you been playing pickleball?
I started playing pickleball in 2018.
Oh wow. That's a really long time. You would consider that like
I just
a
aged myself.
OG, right?
Definitely an OG. Definitely one of the pioneers, at least here in the Bay Area, right? I mean,
Definitely in the Bay Area. for
yeah.
sure.
Okay. Where did you start at? Was it at the parks? I'm assuming, was it Mitchell Park or?
No, actually, I was recovering from my 14th cancer surgery.
14th cancer surgery.
I had not been out of bed in 3.5 months, and I was on lots of different medications.
Uh-huh.
I kept hearing a noise while I was in recovery, and I was at my mom's home, and she lives in the Villages in San Jose, not far from Evergreen, where
Right.
you guys play,
Yeah.
on the first fairway, so it's quite quiet there. And like I said, I kept hearing noises, and I said to my mom, who was a nurse in the area for 59 years, so she has a huge medical background, and I said, you got to stop those noises, Mom. And she's like, I can't hear anything. And I said, there's the noise. I'm like climbing the walls. I was also suffering from PTSD, which adds to everything else.
Yeah.
And anyway, she said, why don't you get dressed? And I said, Mom, I haven't gotten dressed in 3.5 months. I was praying every night that I wouldn't wake up in the morning. I was kind of just done my battle after 5 years. And she said, just get dressed. Let's go find what that noise is. That noise, I did. I got dressed. I followed the noise and ended up at the tennis courts at the Villages.
No way.
And they were
That's
teaching pickleball.
insane.
Wow.
So that noise that everyone thinks is so annoying literally saved my life.
Oh my gosh. I'm I'm almost speechless right now.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
That is a crazy story. So 14 surgeries, huh?
14.
14. Was that your last one? That for the 14th?
There's been a couple more.
Okay. And how has that process been, kind of dealing with that, not wanting to, get out of bed, to now teaching pickleball here at the hub? Like, what was that journey like for you?
When I started playing, if anybody knows about the Villages, it's 55 and over, which
Okay.
I did not meet that criteria at the time nor now, but because my mom was caring for me, I was able to live there. And it kind of was like my introduction to pickleball, really. And what was so interesting is when I walked on the courts, I kind of had a little edge to me because I was pissed that this noise was getting me out of bed. And I was wearing Vans.
Vans. Okay.
And that becomes important because we all know how important pickleball shoes are.
Absolutely.
And when I walked on the courts, they're like, we could teach you, but you got to go change your shoes.
No.
And I'm like, seriously? I got to go back and then come back again? Anyways, I did. And that day, after learning a few things about pickleball, was the last day I took medication. The last day I went back to bed depressed, wanting to die, and been on the court almost every day since.
That's amazing.
Somehow or another, I've been on a pickleball court almost every day since. It's very hard for me to take a recovery day just because it saved my life.
Wow. That's amazing. So from that day forward, literally no medication. You just,
Not having to do with cancer medications.
and it just,
I rolled the dice. I was done with doctors. I was done with oncologists, and I had some of the most amazing doctors.
Right.
But when it becomes you're leaving the house to go to a doctor. You're leaving the house to go to a doctor. Like I had 2 young boys. They were so tired of seeing mom sick
Yeah.
and dying. You know,
Yeah.
my youngest son, who now is here every day, I see him more now than I've ever have playing pickleball. He said, "Mom, who's going to take care of me when you die?" And when your 12-year-old says that to you, it's like, whoa.
It's gut wrenching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is gut wrenching. So, it's, pickleball, literally, that noise saved my life because it got me out of bed and
Man.
it gave me a purpose again.
Wow.
So from there, I wanted to know, like most people, everything about that game.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a hub. We didn't have pickleball courts anywhere. It was
Right.
blended lines on tennis courts. I mean, that's all you saw. There was no dedicated courts anywhere in this area.
Right.
And that was 2018 when my oldest son was going to go up to Washington to play football for college. And what I did was I found in Seattle where pickleball started. And so I located a pro there. And so every weekend when I flew in to watch his football games, I would meet up with that pro.
Oh, wow.
And I'd spend the day with him and learn. I'm going to be a sponge, I'm going to soak in everything you have to teach me.
And do you have any racket sports background?
Nothing.
Really?
I actually went and learned how to play tennis. Once I knew I wanted to coach, I went and found a tennis pro to teach me
Okay.
how to play tennis. And knowing that I would be teaching tennis players when they would figure out what pickleball is much more fun than
Yeah.
tennis. So I figured I'd have a clientele, a group of tennis players that I'd need to teach. So I wanted to know what their training was in order to then transition them over to pickleball.
Okay, so there's
I just thought that would be a good marketing tool for
absolutely.
myself.
I mean, there's definitely strategy
Yeah.
involved when you're kind of deciding which route you want to go. Right, you're obviously coaching, and naturally that makes sense because a lot of the tennis players now are moving over
to pickleball.
to pickleball, even badminton too, like
Yeah.
Huey, for
Oh, yeah.
example. And so, was there any point in your pickleball career that made you say, "Hey, I want to coach"? Like, or what was the defining moment? I guess that was like, "Okay, cool. I gotta start teaching this now."
And then also, can you include like what was the process to be a coach?
Sure. I think when I was at the Villages playing on the tennis courts, everybody was older than me, but better because they had more experience than I
Right.
did. And when you serve and then you step in and you forget to stay because you got to let that ball bounce, right? We've all been there in that little burn zone. I got so comfortable in that burn zone where I would then pop the ball up because I didn't know what a drop shot was.
Right.
I didn't know what a drive. I didn't have that background at that time. And so I realized I was every person that played with me, I killed them. Like how to kill your partner, I could show you how to do that in pickleball because I'd pop every ball up and then they'd slam my partner. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I got to figure out, I got to go learn this game and be a student of the game.
Right.
So that's what brought me when I went to Seattle, knowing that's where it started and there was a lot more people in Seattle to play than where I was.
I did not know
especially
that.
to teach. You didn't know where
I didn't know it started in Seattle.
Bainbridge Island,
Okay.
1965.
Wow.
I knew it was
The history.
1965, but I had no idea it was in Seattle.
Bainbridge
So
Island.
when you went there, it was obviously a much different experience from here.
Absolutely. In fact, Pickleball Central, which most pickleball players know about, it was in Kent, Washington.
Ah, yeah.
And
I know
at
Kent.
that venue, they had 4 indoor courts similar to ours here at the Hub, like kind of a warehouse type feel.
Right.
And I was taking a lesson, and I'm like, what are all those people doing behind us filling those boxes? I had no idea that was Pickleball Central.
Yeah.
It was kinda cool.
Dang.
Is
But
it-
then during COVID, the courts at least shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't Pickleball Central the thing that the Hub was giving out back then a badge?
That's Pickleball Superstore.
Oh, Superstore,
Competitor,
okay.
Huey competitors.
Oh, competitors.
We got to give a shout out to the Pickleball Superstore.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So going back to your process, so you
So
went, yeah.
I wanted to learn how, like all the techniques and mechanics, and again, because I didn't come from that background. What my background did help me with, and I realize it more and more as I teach, is I'm able to do a quick assessment of somebody.
Yeah.
So I can do a quick flash look of their waist, their feet, their paddle, their hands from my background, and then know where to go on the court.
And your background being law enforcement.
law enforcement.
Yeah, because
So-
obviously part of your role is just to analyze real quick and make a good description,
Yes.
or being able to identify certain things
Correct.
right away, right?
Yep, and when I was in law enforcement, I was an arrest control and defensive tactics instructor. So I had some instruction.
So don't mess with Trish, is what she's saying. All right? That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Don't mess with Trish.
So I think that provided me more fast hand
Absolutely.
strategies, and then the quick assessment. I, kind of know. I feel very comfortable reading the court
Yeah.
and court positioning. And then now I had that, but now how do I put that into pickleball? I had to now learn the game.
Right.
And
Right.
so going back and forth to Seattle for 4 years, working with the pro there just totally helped. And I'm like, I want to give back. How do I give back?
Yeah.
Because now what I wanted to do, dying every morning, I didn't want to wake up. Now I couldn't wait to wake up and just get on the
I
court.
love that.
So it completely changed my mindset.
180.
Yep.
180.
And it gave my boys, I mean, they, looking back, they just remember being scared and seeing mom sick, and,
Yeah.
that's so difficult for young kids. And so now they see me now, and it's, so they're full support. They're huge pickleball supporters.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it. And then that process for coaching. So obviously you did the tennis thing. You learned the game. I'm sure there's other certifications you had to go through.
Correct. So I then, after, 2019, I actually played in the first PPA tournament.
Oh.
The inaugural PPA tournament in Mesa, Arizona. That was like 600 people. Now they're like probably 2,500 people.
Yeah, totally.
In the tournaments. And then after that is when I really got into teaching. So I did my PPR certification, and then I did the PCI, and then I just did different like doubles, dynamite doubles strategy, and different things. But again, what we have now compared to 2019, so different. The way I teach now, completely different than when I taught then.
Yeah.
So you started teaching in 2019.
Yes.
Okay, so like pretty much right away.
1 year.
Yep, within a year.
Yeah.
Within
Wow.
a year, I started teaching.
Wow.
I played my first tournament and then started teaching. And
Okay.
I actually, my first teaching job, I went back to the villages because I felt I needed to give back.
Get back to
to
where it started.
Where it all started. So I started a program there called Pickle Up. It was like Level Up Pickleball for other people in the community. And I got people coming out, like our first couple weeks, it was like maybe 50 people. And now there's, I want to say there are probably close to 800-900 members
Wow.
in the pickleball
Yeah.
community at the villages. So,
And you started that.
I started the ball rolling. I haven't been there. My mom still lives there, but I started, and then I helped raise money for the dedicated courts they got put in there.
Wow. So from 50 to, you said 600?
There's over six. No, I'm thinking there's like close to 900
Oh, wow.
because they
Talk about-
feed now. They bleed over into the Evergreen.
Oh, okay, that makes
'cause
sense.
It's right in that same neighborhood.
Talking about pioneer, right? Like just
Yeah.
leading the
started
way,
Yep.
trailblazer.
Yep. And then I was looking for, like most coaches when they first start off, I was looking for courts to teach, and I was over at Sunnyvale Tennis Center, and I walked in the pro shop. I'm like, hey, can I reserve a court? I want to give a lesson. And they're like, you can't teach here. And I'm like, oh, okay. I said, can I at least reserve a court? And they're like, sure, as long as you don't teach on it. And I go, well, who teaches here? And they're like, nobody. And I said, well, what do you need to do to teach here? So it kind of like fell into my lap because
Yeah.
they're like, you teach? I'm like, yep. And they're like, well, we're looking for a pro. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Basically manifested it that.
Oh yeah, and I totally believe in manifestation.
Absolutely.
Vision boards, I'm into all that stuff. So then I rebuilt. They started a program, very small there, right before COVID. So now it's end of 2019, beginning of 20. We're kind of in COVID.
Right.
And then I got the program up and running over at Sunnyvale
Wow.
before coming here.
Yeah. And then how did you lead up to getting over here?
Oh, that's interesting. So September of 2022, I was playing in the first Duper waterfall tournament at Newport. And you never know who you're going to meet at tournaments. I'm a full believer. You can't burn a bridge. I was playing against another couple, and after the game, tap paddles, get into some conversation, and one of the guys said, oh yeah, I'm building a place in San Diego, 26 courts. It's going to be so nice. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Congratulations. Whatever. Move on. Fast forward to January. I keep getting a phone call on my phone, and I don't recognize a number, so I don't answer it. I figured if they know me, they'll leave a message. He left a message, and he's like, hey, who are you? We are in NorCal. We keep hearing about you. And we're in SoCal. You're in NorCal. Who are you? We keep hearing about you, and we want to know who you are. And I'm like, okay. So I called him back, and he's like, who are you? And I'm like, well, you called me. You should know a little bit about me if you're calling me. Well, it was one of the owners, not Pat. It was one of the owners. And so I thought, all right, this is going to be interesting. So he said, hey, we're flying in. We're building a facility in the old Fry's. And because I grew up here, I knew exactly where it was. And he said, would you meet us over there? We'd like to talk to you. And I said, sure. So that was January of 2023.
Wow.
And then they offered me director of pickleball, and I said, no, thank you. And they're like, what do you mean, no, thank you? Why are you turning that kind of a job down? I said, because I want to teach. I don't want to be behind a computer. I said, what does that look like? And there was a lot of admin. I said, change it up. We can negotiate.
I love that they heard about you.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
That's
right?
really cool.
And after having a law enforcement background, you don't like when people say they heard about you.
Yeah, usually it's the other way around, right? Usually it's like, I don't know if my name wants to be out there,
Yeah,
but
when someone says you look familiar, you're kind of like, why?
right. So, did they ever tell you like how, or like, do you know why or how that happened? Like, how did they hear about you?
Pickleball community is very small.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing great in the community or bad in the community, everybody's going to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's grown and it's gotten bigger and bigger, but it's still very small.
Right.
So I think it was just, they're.
I mean, it has to be very relevant, or at least persistent, because they kept trying to reach out to you. You know, so
Right,
that means there were some names. Someone was preaching your name down there.
Well, I think Selkirk had a little bit to do with it. The reps at Selkirk, 'cause I was sponsored. I think, when you're building a venue, well, who's here? So they could have easily done research online if they wanted to, or, look out, anytime you're opening a business, you want to know who your competitor is. Well, Sunnyvale, I built the program pretty much up there.
That makes sense.
And had a pretty good, strong program going there. In fact, when they asked me to come here and I let Sunnyvale know, I had over 300 students leave Sunnyvale, which is a non-membership court or club, to join here. So that was, that to me, that was a lot of validation.
That's a lot of validation.
Yeah.
That just shows how well you've integrated yourself into that community and how much they're willing to follow you with that, with the membership fee.
Yes.
Now, you've been playing since 2018, and you kind of mentioned it earlier. There's a lot of change, not only in the way you play, but also the way you coach.
Yes.
Is there anything in specific, maybe like, I'm sure there's a lot of different changes, but is there like one thing in particular that you can say for sure this has changed?
My most recent certifications comes from Quattro Pickleball.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of Quattro
I've never
Pickleball.
heard of
It's
it.
out of Cabo, San Lucas in Mexico.
Okay.
In fact, I call him my coach, my mentor. He's flying in tonight to spend some time the next 10 days with us. I was introduced to him through somebody at the Sacramento Open the year before who needed a partner, and somebody called and said, hey, are you playing in this? I'm like, no. She's like, somebody needs a partner. Will you drive up? I'm like, sure. And although my duper was ruined that day, like the world just kind of opened up.
Yeah.
Because then I have all these other windows and doors opened, and I met Matt Pangraci. So he built and founded Quattro Pickleball. So after years of training with different pros, Tyson and Kyle and, so many top pros, and learning all the ways that they played, he then took everything he learned from each person and then built the system called Quattro Pickleball. And it has really, truly simplified the game of pickleball. Everybody wants to get fancy and spin this and spin that. It's like, be simple. Straight lines equal straight lines, angles equal angles, know where you're hitting, have some strategy. That by far, I did that last year. Matt actually hosted me in Mexico. And I was there with him for a few days, and he trained me in the whole system, certified me, then came here this past June, certified my coaches here, and now he's back this week to take us all to the next level. And it by far the best teaching system, method of teaching. Like you literally watch students have their aha moments.
I love that, because I'm sure you've coached hundreds of people, and now there's just another element to your coaching that maybe you coached someone, years back, and they've progressed and done their thing, but now there's like another thing you could add to their arsenal.
Absolutely. The game just continues to change.
Yeah, I love that.
It's fast. You know, we went through a period of everything was fast, fast, fast power. And then it's like, you got to be able to slow the game down. You got to be able to reset, change the tempo, you know, change location, everything. When I coach, and you could probably ask anybody that I do coach, I'm all very big on feedback, because why are you coming every week for a lesson and investing so much if I don't give you feedback?
Right.
So I know I had to figure out what is going to set me aside from other coaches, because now they're a dime a dozen. Everybody wants a coach.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that they can coach. You might be a phenomenal pickleball player, but not necessarily be able to coach and break things down. You might be able to be a great coach, but not such a great player.
Yeah.
So I think it goes hand in hand sometimes.
What would you say like is like your coaching style? Because like I know like there's like some people that they like to give that advice ahead of time, and then there's some people that like to give the questions.
Like when I'm coaching, give questions? What do you mean?
Do you give the feedback or do you give the questions?
Like real-time feedback or like feedback afterwards kind of thing? Is that what you're saying?
So two different things. When I'm giving a clinic of 8 people, 10 people, whatever the topic of the clinic is, it's important for me to, if I see somebody doing something wrong, I can't watch them continually do something wrong. So I'm going to stop and say, hey, maybe we could try it this way, or I'm going to suggest you do it this way. And I try so hard never to use the word should, because I think it's very condescending in many different ways. So I like to demonstrate. I also like to find out how people learn. I am legally blind in my right eye. I've just found out both my eyes have failed tremendously because of all the cancer meds I was on. All the side effects later have come back. So when I'm teaching or when I'm playing, I depend so much on my hearing, because I have to overcompensate for not being able to see everything.
Yeah.
I got to hear the pop of a paddle to know it's powerful, or it might be going out. So different things, like I don't think a lot of other coaches, maybe they do think about it. I don't want to discount anybody else what they're doing, but I have to have certain unique teaching methods that are different than other people.
Different than the standard,
to set myself aside from everybody else. There's one class or lesson I like doing I call it a 3-and-me. I think here we call it a Pro Plus 3, where I'm the fourth player, and then what does everybody want to work on? And we're doing live time games and points. And then it's like, okay, everybody stop. Why are you there? Why do you think that shot was a good shot to hit to that location instead of something else? I believe in telling the why. I don't like telling somebody or advising somebody to do something without them knowing the why.
Understanding why, yeah.
Yep.
And I love that you're able to do that quickly because of your previous experience, right? It goes
That's that
hand in
quick
hand.
assessment.
That quick assessment, right? You're able to dictate, okay, here are the issues in this scenario. Let's peel it back a little bit and understand why are we doing this way, and why we should do it this way, and what are the benefits, so on and so forth. So there's a lot kind of moving, I'm sure, in your brain.
Oh yeah.
At any given moment.
It's full on constructing a point in my brain, and they're like,
Yeah.
wait, how do you remember 4 shots before that?
Yeah.
And mind you, I lost my memory for a while when I was going through my battle. How my memory came back the way it did, I have no idea. But I can recall, like more of a photographic memory, I can recall what 4 or 5 shots happened. So when you just said reverse it, yeah, reverse the point, because the last shot that went in the net, that wasn't necessarily the error. The error happened 5 shots earlier.
Yep.
Because you were out of court position, you never were able to recover, your weight is all transferred back on your back heel, you weren't able to do a drop, you go up for a lob, you're not in position to retrieve the lob. I mean, there's so many different factors.
So many different factors. And I love that you're able to dissect it, because again, you're right. Sometimes often we kind of look at the end result.
Yeah, that's not that wasn't with the error.
Yeah, interesting.
But that's what people remember last.
Exactly.
Oh, she hit it in the net. She hit it out.
Right.
I wanted to touch base on, thank you for sharing, by the way. You were talking about your vision, right? And you rely on noise. Is there any particular paddles that, like for instance, the quiet paddles that affects your play and response?
Yeah, I believe now with so many different paddle companies in the industry. The new, I know the brand, but I'm not big on. Not going to give it too much of a shout out here.
Yeah.
It's a quiet paddle, but because I'm legally blind in my right eye and I've had so much eye damage, I rely on my hearing so much. In fact, when I was in the police academy, they tested my hearing, and I could hear decibels that animals could hear.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's how good my hearing is.
Really?
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy. So when I'm hearing, I'm looking for a pop of a paddle, and then somebody's using like a gearbox or another brand that's very soft and, reduces the noise.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, it becomes more of a difficult game for me to play because now I'm trying to see, which I can't really see, especially if it's on the right side. And I rely on the acoustics of a paddle and hearing that to then decide how am I going to respond to the shot or counter the shot that's coming. So, we all have something. We all have a battle of something, whether it's physical, mental. And I think it just kind of brings, here we all are playing. We're all here at the hub right now. Everybody wants to get better. And we have to overcompensate whatever our issue is. I don't like to say it's a handicap. I mean, probably
Everyone has one, yeah.
Toward doctors, it's a handicap, but I'm going to, I got it. I got to deal with it. How do I overcome it? And how do I still play my game?
Yeah. Would you say, since you played so many tournaments, would just out of fairness, should they ban those certain paddles?
100%, in my opinion, only for my game. Yeah, you know what? I think it gives some people an advantage. I also think it's one of those things where, like the gearbox paddle, or some of the Eulas that came out, they are so powerful, and the person that's holding it doesn't know how to control it.
Yeah.
So it's it's the weapon on the pickleball court.
Yeah, it is.
If you're outside, people have weapons they can't control. They shouldn't have them in their hands. To me, here, it's a gradual process, and you evolve into different paddles. Because I definitely think they could.
Versus your very first paddle is this one.
Yeah, but I don't think it helps people learn the game
Yeah.
in an easier way or easier fashion.
Would you say, okay, so changing the topic, moving forward, since I've worked at the hub and I've seen a lot of people come in from their outside lives into pickleball, would you say that when they come to your court, their lives have changed?
100%, 200%. I think one unique quality that I have is I am able to connect with people. I think that's another thing that helps me coach because I'm able to, whether it's a male, female, I have the ability to connect with people.
Super important.
It is, and to find out, ask questions about them and their backgrounds. And 30 years ago, golf brought people together.
Yeah.
I grew up, my father was a golf professional, everything revolved around golf. Now, golf, forget it. I don't want to spend 5 hours with the same two people.
Did you play golf?
I did. Not very good. But that did help my pickleball game, I must say. Keeping the eye on the ball.
There you go.
But now pickleball, it's crazy how many students I have that our kids played football together. Our kids went to high school together, and we lost contact over the years, or Little League. I mean, every day I have somebody that I used to have something to do with.
Connection.
Whether my kids' teachers, their math tutor, crazy. And when I ask people, what did you do before pickleball? Most of the time they start crying.
Yeah.
Because it's building the community, and I know the game saved my life, and it changed it for, I have chills right now.
I know.
It changed my life so very much. It gave me a purpose. And I know, I'm looking out of the courts right now. I could see 10 different people, I have no idea what they might have done before this, but where do you go and meet people that you're not online, you're not at a bar, you're doing something healthy that's going to involve physical, mental health, and only make it better.
Yeah.
So part of my job here at the hub is building community, and I love that.
And you've definitely
I
done
love
that. You've definitely done that.
Thank you.
Here, not only here, outside of here, we talked about the Pioneer earlier, just being able to grow the community and and still continue to grow the community to this day. It just shows you how important the game is to you, and more importantly, how important it is for the aspect of wanting to do more for yourself. Not just you, but everyone out there. Everyone comes here, they might have, you kind of said earlier, they might have issues at home, they might have health issues, they're not having a good day at work, they, broke up with whatever, whatever the situation is, everyone has their own issues. Everyone is going through something in life. And the fact that you can come here and almost open a magic door to a place where none of that stuff matters in this point in time, right? None of that matters, and all that matters is you, your connection with your paddle, the ball, the players around you, connecting with people socially after the game, before the match, right? And just being able to be involved in a community where everyone is on the same playing field. I think that is the biggest thing, because you don't see very often anywhere where I could play with,
Ages,
different ages, different
cities,
different sizes, different
gender,
heights, gender, doesn't matter, and everyone's on the same playing field. And it's just a really good feeling to know that, everyone, like I said, everyone has their own battles that we're all facing, but when it comes to here, we're all fighting the same battle, and we're all just trying to get better and win together and have fun while doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And help each other improve and be better and bigger than what we are. And be part of something. We all want to be part of a community. I mean, I know just looking back when I lost my career, I had to retire out early. Like, that's what I knew. I grew up in the police force. Like, what am I going to do now? Never did I think that I would now be playing pickleball. I mean, last June, real quick, I got to play in the police and fire games.
Oh.
And never did I think that pickleball and my past career were going to come together in one on the pickleball court. That to me was crazy.
It's like an aha.
Who knew that I would get to play in the police Olympics?
Right.
And play pickleball and represent. So yeah, very, very cool. Quick story. One day, I don't know what, I was up at the front desk for something, and this gentleman walked in, and he looked at me and started crying, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
If I wanted to see anybody, it was you today." And I said, "Why?" He was just diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer and was given a couple months to live. And he came in to play pickleball probably for the last time. Like, again, I had no idea. And I'm like, can I go hit with you?
Yeah, but you brought that much joy to someone in such a dark time.
all that energy.
Yeah. And this game brought me out of a dark time.
Yes.
So the more I can give back and help make people's games better, help people with their games in a positive way, it's a positivity. People, get upset, a line call. Okay, you guys, we have no idea what they went through that day. I refuse to make line calls because I certainly can't see. Ethically and morally, I have no business making a line call. Unless it's 100% out, I'm not calling it. But, those little things tend to they didn't make a good line call. Well, you know what? It's a line call.
Just move on.
Move on. Yeah. That's our first world problem in pickleball. Someone making a bad line call. Community is huge.
Yeah. And also finding your tribe in that community. And I've noticed that you have a group in the morning too, that you've gone out and go eat and do other things besides pickleball.
That was really hard for me to do.
Yeah.
I crossed a boundary I was not sure I was able to cross. Because I'm trying to keep that level of professionalism.
Right.
And literally a group of people came to me, and one in particular person came and she goes, "You work so much that you have no time for friends, so you might as well make us your friends."
But is it work though?
You know what? I forget that I get paid.
I gotta say, is it work?
It is. You know what? When I am so and I loved being a cop. Oh my God, I loved doing what I did. But I was also and my kids are still on my payroll, but still, now they know it's going to come a little easier because I love what I do, and I can't wait to get here every day.
I love that.
And sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes my body hurts a little bit more than others, but I know somebody's counting on me being there.
Someone's counting on you.
Yep. I had one. I don't know if you also know that there is a huge, huge community. Obviously, we know there's communities within our community. There's a huge community of breast cancer survivors, which I am, as well as other cancer survivors. I probably have 25 to 30 students that I teach every week that all have had cancer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huge.
Yeah.
One lady's missing her shoulder. I have one lady missing an arm. I mean, it's unbelievable the things, we all come together for. So.
And just to talk about it and be aware. So.
And no judgment.
Yeah.
No judgment.
No judgment.
No judgment.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So.
And you guys are young in this game. Like, I would kick your butts if I started your age. Now you just
probably
fly
would.
across the court, Huey, and hit the ball at my feet while you're 10 feet in the air. But the flash, I never saw you jump.
Now you know her weakness too. Just get a quiet paddle. There you go.
Quiet paddle?
I can't support it. Sorry.
I actually wanted to try that paddle.
It's actually kind of heavy.
You tried
Well,
it?
it's heavy for me. Yeah, I had to try it just to see. But yeah, I had a student the other day that had it, and I'm like, oh my god! And she was a phenomenal player. I'm like, wow. I'd hate to put a Selkirk in her hand. She'd probably be 20 times better.
Yeah. So I want to say like you would say pink is your favorite color, right?
Pink, live it every day.
Yeah. So we have a gift here for you. It's a pink shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy Dinker.
Hey,
Pink shirt.
there you
David,
go.
are you getting this?
Yeah.
Yay.
So this shirt, we're gonna be selling it at Dinks and Drinks. It's part of Happy Dinker. We have Franco Mobile Homes on the side, and then the other side is the breast cancer awareness
That's
ribbon.
Awareness Month.
So
Very
make sure you come
nice.
through to the,
I will wear
the
this
event
Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to pull out my pink cowboy boots to wear.
Oh,
with it.
there you go.
And then
You guys didn't know I was a cowgirl, did you?
cowgirl.
I did not know that.
Now you know something else.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're gonna be doing a speech there. It's gonna be a little bit different than today. Would you say so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all going to roll off my tongue.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yep.
From the heart,
Coming
right?
from the heart. Yep.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have like 3 other speakers be opening for you, and then you're gonna be the last one, and we're all gonna have a good time. Videographers, photographers, photo booth, the whole shebang.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Yep. And then this is for our listeners. Is there any final last words that you have for them?
If you haven't played pickleball yet, pick up a paddle, find a community, come to the hub. I'll help you fit right into the community. Don't judge. Don't judge.
Don't
Remember,
judge.
we
It's a
don't
big
know
one.
what happened to anybody before they walk in our hub doors.
That's true.
And they're here for peace, safety, tranquility. Whether they have to bang the ball a bunch, take it out on the ball.
Yeah.
But be kind. Be kind to each other.
Be kind.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, that wraps up our episode 19?
I think 19. Yeah.
Episode 19
Wow.
of Dinker Swim. Thanks for everyone that's listening. Thank you, Trish, so
Thank you.
much for
Thank you
hopping
both.
on and sharing your story. Amazing story, guys. And remember, don't mess with Trish.
Yeah.
Peace
Yeah.
out.
See ya.
Peace out. Thank you.
Baby, I ain't wanna lie, I've been feeling on your vibe. Baby, hotter than July, we be outside. Hit on like 5, wanna take a deep dive. Diving in your zone, shorty like a Love Jones. Sipping on Perignon, higher than a drone. Baby, wanna get it on, baby, we could get it. But I gotta mention that all your sexual tension, yeah,